Hi, I've heard a few different variations of essentially the same question, which is uh, if we're saying that each service needs to have a single owner, how do we deal and how do we avoid bottlenecks when other teams need changes from this service owned by another team? And first of all, I want to say that I do believe that service ownership is very important. It's critical to ensure the lifetime care for this service. Um, One way where we can make at least easier to allow other teams to make changes to the service that we own is through Team API, right? Where we can clearly lay out for other teams, is it possible for them to change the service that we own and how should they do that? And so this helps us reduce friction when other teams need changes, and hopefully help us reduce kind of the delays in terms of being able to make those change requests into our service. But this needs to be a conscious decision by the owner, by the team who owns the service, where we're clearly telling other teams if yes or no, it's possible to change our service and how should you do it. And therefore reducing also the cognitive load, the effort on those other teams to make changes to our service if they need to. So the way that we actually let them make those changes should be a decision by the team that is the owner. Often, some kind of inner source model is helpful. Having pull requests to the code that we own that runs the service. But there are other ways, perhaps we're okay with just automated tests showing that the changes you made can be tested and there are no regressions. Or perhaps we just want to do a code review together before we integrate your changes. Whatever it might be, the team who owns the service should decide and should make that clear to others. Finally, I just want to point out that we should not over rely on this model in the sense that it should be the way that we're addressing special cases where we are the owners of a service, but turns out that another team needs a change, which has some priority for them, which we cannot meet, which we won't be able to make that change in time for them. And so we're finding a kind of agreed way where they can go in and make the change, and as long as they follow our guidelines and how we want those changes to be implemented and validated, then we're okay with that. But this should happen very rarely, right? We should be careful that this is just addressing those special cases. If it turns out that we're often running into this kind of coordination, into this kind of having other teams changing our service, then perhaps we need to rethink how we organize our streamline teams, our service teams, because that means that probably we have not really identified or we have misunderstood what are the real work streams that come into our system. And that's how we want to align the teams to the different kind of flow of work that comes in. And so perhaps in that case, if we see that we're often having to resort to this kind of special way that we allow other teams to change our service, then perhaps we need to go back and rethink if we've aligned correctly. If we are perhaps having too many dependencies between teams because the responsibilities and the services they're working on are not as independent as they should be. That's it.